diseases, and in the Department of Medicine. He's a researcher in a position with a broad background in translational research, including expertise and experience in molecular virology, bioinformatics, immunology, and viral evolution. He's going to talk about antiretroviral coverage for HIV-infected and susceptible populations that are needed to reduce local HIV epidemics. So his work is actually going to be focused on San Diego.
Okay, thank you. So today we are doing some very basic mathematics. So it will be very basic, be secure. So what I will be talking about is, can we get some insight into the dynamic of an epidemic and the potential impact of interventions such as TASP and PrEP in a very particular population. And the example I will be talking about is the epidemic of HIV among MSM in San Diego with a very basic model. So unfortunately, I have to speak a little bit about mathematics, but it will be very brief and very basics. So the objective was to create a very simple model using a limited number of basic parameters, but very flexible. This is the positive point of this tool. And our goal was to provide targets of TASP and PrEP coverage to reduce the incidence of HIV in a given population. And today we are speaking about the MSM. So let's go into the model. Not into the detail of the model, but into the model. So, yeah, the basis of any infectious disease model is the basic positive number, also known as R0, and its definition is the average number of persons directly infected by an infectious case over the course of its infectious period. And what is crucial to understand is this number, the R0, has to be greater than 1 for an epidemic to spread. So here on the left, here it's on the left for you, I think, the disease will spread because after one generation you will have 2 additional cases, and after the next generation you will have 4 additional cases, and so on. So to control any infectious disease, what is crucial is to bring down this number below 1, this number of secondary cases, which could be suggested by the next on the right here. So it can also be defined with an equation. Unfortunately, there's some equation in it. So R0 is the probability of transmission per contact times the number of contacts times a certain period of time. It's very basic, once again. And if you go into detail in this equation, the probability of transmission per contact can also be expressed as a formula, which is a standard binomial formula that I've put here on the slide. But we have also to consider for our model the population that can transmit and the population that can be exposed and infected. So once again, a simple equation. So the population at risk of transmission of HIV individuals that are viremic, it's the total population size times the HIV prevalence. But hopefully some of them are treated, so you have to take away all these individuals, but unfortunately not all of them are virally suppressed. And for this talk today and the results you will see, we set up PrEP efficiency of 80%. But once again, the tool is flexible, so you can modulate these numbers. And we also have to take into account the population that can be infected, which is simply the opposite, the total population size minus the population of HIV-infected individuals. But since we are particularly interested in the potential impact of PrEP, we have to take away all the individuals that are on PrEP. So this is, once again, this little equation. And today, we consider a PrEP efficiency among MSM of 70%. But we can change anything. So let's go directly to my tool. So, to our tool, sorry. This tool, I don't have any, yeah. So here you will play a little bit with the demographics. You can put your population size, you can put the prevalence of HIV, and for the cost, today in US, we consider the cost of TASP per year of $24,000, and unfortunately for PrEP, we consider the cost of $10,000, more or less. And then you can adjust the sexual behavior, the condom use, the number of sexual acts with causal partner, the ratio of insertive versus receptive, but hopefully at the population size it should be 50-50. And the intervention you will have, you can modulate the PrEP, the TASP, combine both interventions and see what happens over time. And the output will be the number of new cases, the number of new cases without any intervention, and the number of cases avoided, which is simply the difference. And this is just the average cumulative cost over a given period of time. And here, if I click, I go directly to a web page. It should work. Do we have a web page? Yeah, we have. So here you are on the web page, and you can play a little bit with my tool. Yeah, I like it. And then you can see what happened over time. And once again, the objective was not to have something very accurate, but at least a good understanding of what could happen with an intervention. And if you ask me to set up a little bit to your population, the cost or the cost I can do it here, but the PrEP efficiency, for example, I can change anything. So let's go back in the previous presentation. If I bring down the cost of PrEP here and see what happens in terms of cost, oh, it's better. Okay, so let's go back to some results. This one is funny, but we have to show you some results as well. So, yeah. Go back to San Diego, and what rates of heart coverage do we need to reduce the HIV epidemic among MSM in San Diego? So, for this model, I use a population size of 56,000 MSM in San Diego, and HIV prevalence about around 20%, and heart coverage efficient of 30%, so 37% overall, and the condom use of 60%. And here are the exact output of my tool with these parameters. And so let's focus on the middle. So in the middle, we have an average of 20 sexual acts with causal partner per year. And you see that by increasing, by increasing from 30 to 50% the TASP coverage in this given population, you could prevent almost 700 new cases. Only with TASP. But with my tool, you can combine both. And what about PrEP now? So for PrEP, same example. If you go in the middle, and you see by providing PrEP to 20% of the population of MSM, you will prevent 300 new cases over 5 years. And if you increase the PrEP coverage from 20 to 50%, you will prevent almost 500 additional cases over 5 years. But unfortunately, you have to speak a little bit of money. And for the money part, I use this baseline parameter, so 24,000 per year for heart and 10,000 per year for PrEP. So here are the results of cumulative costs for TASP with different level of coverage. And you see the difference. You remind the previous slide, which I show you. Yes, the difference was 700 new cases prevented over 5 years. And in the same situation, the differential cost will be more or less $300 million. If I look at PrEP only with PrEP intervention, you see that by incorporating PrEP in this same population over 5 years, it will cost almost $600 million to have a 30% PrEP coverage. So the direct question that came into our mind at this step was, can we make it more efficient in the US? So the idea was, how can we make PrEP more efficient? We need to find a way to make it very basic, very simple, and reproductive in overpopulation. We start with the idea of age distribution. So I focused on the age distribution of new HIV infection in San Diego. You see here the red curve, and between 20 to take into account 90% of new cases, you have this range of age between 21 and 52 years old. So 90% of new cases range years between 21 and 52 years old. So then I plot the age distribution of male in San Diego. Here it is. And in the same range of age between 21 and 52 years old, it represents 46% of the population. So in other words, by targeting 46% of male in San Diego, you could expect to prevent up to 90% of all new HIV infection. It's just the ideal situation. So here are the results from only the number of new cases first. So you see there's a difference, obviously there's a difference. So over 5 years, you have the two situations, with or without targeting the population, and you see there's a difference of average 50 new cases. So you have 50 additional cases if you only focus on this 46% of male. And what is interesting here, it's in terms of cost. The difference is very important, because in the same situation, the difference is more or less $300 million for these 50 different cases. And I think the main take-home message here is this. All models are wrong, and mine is not an exception at all. So, but some are useful, and hopefully with all your feedback, I will be able to make it more nice and more adjustable. And you will have access. You have an open access to the web page, so you can see all the problems, the caveats, and the bugs that could happen. Bugs happen with PC sometimes, and yes. And I want to thank you very much, and all the team that I'm very pleased to work with. Thank you.
Thank you. So I want to make sure we move through. We'll take one question.
It's not really a question, but just a suggestion.
Yeah.
That you integrate to your model some other local beauties, like drug abuse, methamphetamine abuse, to make things more interesting or more realistic.
Yeah, for sure. Drug abuse is one of the thing I'm particularly interested in, but I have to integrate this risk in the transmission risk, the beta number. I can do it. Yeah. Sure.